Welcome to the science of sleep, a place where your mind can wander while your body rests. Each night, we journey together, not through fiction, but through the quiet wonder of real science, told slowly, gently, like a bedtime story. So if you're ready, take a deep breath. Let your day begin to fade, and allow your thoughts to drift inward. Tonight's story is one that lives inside you, in every cell, in every heartbeat, in every breath you've ever taken. A code is written, a spiral of letters, older than memory, quieter than thought, but powerful enough to shape your entire life. This is the story of your genetic code, and what it softly reveals about who you are, where you come from, and where life itself began. So close your eyes, let go, and together we'll step into the spiral and discover the language of life, letter by gentle letter. You begin inside. Your body lies quiet and still, as if it's holding its breath. But deep within, a small spark of life lives on, uneven, steady, eternal. Within each of your cells, there is a spiral. It sleeps, it dreams, it remembers. This spiral, DNA, is a whisper in the dark. Imagine a seashell folded into itself so precisely that it holds all the knowledge of your existence. For letters, A, T, C, G, curve around each other like glowing script, silent and wise. They tell stories of everything you are, your laughter, your tears, the curve of your smile. They speak softly, and you listen by feeling. Your cells are tiny libraries. In every one, that spiral sleeps. It coils on itself, compact and perfect, like a lullaby paused mid-note. Each time a cell awakens, it unfolds the spiral and reads a passage. Build a protein here. Switch on a gene there. Proteins are the hands that build bone, the eyes that blink, the enzymes that whisper in your gut. All because the spiral obeys. Let's follow it further. In the center of each cell, in a place called the nucleus, that spiral unfolds and speaks. It speaks in a language of light, a code so simple, yet endlessly complex. It whispers in repetition, echoing through the ages, echoes that began long before you. It reminds you, you are part of something vast. You drift into this library of one. You are here to understand the first sentence of your own story. Your breath slows to match the rhythm of life copying itself within you. One cell becomes two, then four, then millions. Each spiral passing its message, gently and carefully, so the story doesn't break. This code is patient. It doesn't rush. It doesn't hurry. It simply waits for the right moment to bloom like a flower in spring. In early development, your spiral writes the instructions for eyes, for lungs, for a beating heart. And later, it scrolls down pages already written, letting you grow and heal day by day. You are reading this story in real time. And so am I. We are both made of the same living script. In this moment, your body is humming with its activity, cells renewing, repairing, holding you in balance. You feel the pulse of that spiral in your blood, your heartbeat, your slow, deliberate breathing. Each inhale warms your lungs. Each exhale releases a memory of oxygen. That spiral laid the groundwork for this rhythm, all the way back to the first cell you ever were. It holds the secret of your existence peacefully, rhythmically. Remember the metaphor of seashells. Your DNA spirals like nature's perfect spiral, from shell to fallen autumn leaf, to galaxy. The pattern repeats, softly echoing in every corner of creation. In every curve, there is movement, purpose, and continuity. It is not chaotic. It is beautifully ordered, and it is deeply personal. Your body knows this spiral intimately. It feels its rhythm. It listens when the spiral says, "Grow a new skin cell." It listens when it says, "Repair this muscle." It understands the soft lullaby of letters forming words in a quiet genome. Sometimes the spiral pauses. Sometimes it stumbles. But these small missteps often go unseen, repaired by caring mechanisms that watch over your cells. Other times, they become part of your story, unique markers of who you are. A birthmark, a resilient muscle, a memory of challenge that shaped you. Your spiral is not perfect, but that imperfection is beautiful. It shows you are alive, not static, not rigid, but dynamic. It tells the story of your ancestors, slowed breath of survival, whispered prayers of adaptation. What a gentle miracle to carry that spiral, unchanged in its essence, yet always learning. It has been rewritten in every generation, folded into every new soul, stretching back millions of years. And now, on this slow, meditative night, you hold that history in your chest. This spiral is not just a code. It is your story, your inheritance, your evolving dream. It listens. It remembers. It lets you grow and heal and rest. Your body hums with its presence. Each cell is a small echo of that spiral's ancient memory. In this quiet moment, you are both observer and participant, reading and writing the story with every breath. You drift deeper, feeling the spiral. You feel its curl in your bones, your skin, your mind. You are not separate from it. You are it. And even as it shapes you, you shape it through thoughts, experiences, environment. The spiral isn't frozen. It's alive. It changes in response to your life's melody. It tunes itself to your laughter, your rest, your challenges. It weaves your story into the greater tapestry of life. And soon, this spiral will unfold again. In the next chapter, you'll meet the letters that shine like stars. A, T, C, G, and hear how they compose the music of your being. Their quiet arrangement will feel like poetry in motion. And so you drift, your mind tracing the spiral inward, ready to meet the language made of light and life. Close your eyes. Feel yourself floating inward, deeper into the quiet inner world of your body. It's dim here, not dark, the kind of dim that makes you feel safe, like twilight filtered through soft clouds. You are drifting, slow and suspended, past the membrane of a single cell. Its border opens gently for you. Inside, it's not empty. It's alive, glowing softly with purpose. You pause near the center. There, within the cell's nucleus, rests the spiraling ladder of your DNA, coiled like a quiet river, bending in loops and spirals too small to see, yet vast in meaning. This is your script, and it speaks in a language made of 4 letters. A, T, C, G, adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. You don't need to remember their names. You only need to feel their rhythm. These letters come in pairs, gently locking hands across the rungs of the spiral staircase. O with T, C with G, always, like old friends who always sit next to each other. The code they create isn't loud. It doesn't crash or clash. It hums, Each pair is like a musical note in a cosmic lullaby. AT, GC, GC. AT. The sequence is quiet, but it never stops. It flows through time, a thread that began before you were born and continues even now, in every cell of your body, repeating itself with exquisite patience. It is not random. Every letter is placed with care, like a bead on an invisible necklace. Long strands of these letters form genes, and each gene, like a paragraph in a poem, carries meaning, instruction, possibility. You drift alongside this thread, watching the letters shimmer softly, glowing with a kind of memory. A memory older than language, older than your name, older than Earth's mountains, even, because this code, this molecular script, is billions of years old. You are not the first to carry it. Trees carry it. Whales carry it. Mushrooms in the forest soil carry it. The code has been passed along, species to species, hand to hand, like a sacred message in a bottle. It does not age. It adapts. Sometimes the letters shift. Sometimes they repeat. Sometimes they slip or stretch, creating tiny edits in the script. Most of the time, it goes unnoticed. But each change, however small, becomes part of the story. The melody evolves, slowly, like a new harmony joining the song. You float closer, and now you see the letters are not just letters. They are light. Each one pulses gently, a tiny lantern glowing with knowledge. They don't command your cells like a drill sergeant. They suggest, invite, coax. A gene doesn't shout, make a heart. It whispers, here are the steps. Follow them if the time is right. And the cell listens. Each strand of DNA in your body, and there are billions, contains over 3 billion of these paired letters, wrapped tightly in 23 pairs of chromosomes. This code hums quietly inside almost every cell, like a soft song in the background of your life. It doesn't just make you, it remembers you. Hair color, eye shape, height, but also how your skin heals, how your liver filters, how your blood cells carry oxygen. All of these things are built from the instructions hidden in those shimmering letters. And the most beautiful part? All of this happens in silence. No noise, no drama, just a soft orchestration of molecules moving like dancers on a dim stage, guided by a script too intricate to memorize, too graceful to control. You don't need to tell your body to grow, to breathe, to repair. The letters already know. And while you sleep, they continue to sing. Sometimes, scientists say DNA is like computer code, but it's softer than that, more alive. If code is a machine, DNA is a meadow. If programming is binary, DNA is poetry. It doesn't just instruct, it adapts, responds, feels. It changes depending on the temperature around it, the food you eat, the love you feel, the sunlight on your skin. It listens, and you, without even knowing it, respond to its song. You float through this sea of letters like a swimmer moving slowly through phosphorescent waves. Each step of the way, light flickers around you. Not bright, but warm. Not sharp, but soothing. You begin to notice how much of you is built from this gentle alphabet. How many invisible sentences are holding you together. How your every breath depends on these ancient letters doing their soft work. They are not random. They are not noise. They are meaning. And the more you learn about them, the more mysterious they become. Science has mapped them, all 3 billion letters. And yet much of the story remains unsolved. Vast stretches of DNA don't seem to code for anything. Some call it junk, but perhaps it's just a language we haven't learned to read yet. Perhaps the silence itself is part of the message. You lie still now, body resting in this molecular ocean. There is nothing to do. The letters are doing it all. And just as they shaped your bones, your muscles, your voice, they also shaped your cells' memories. What to become, what to repair, what to remember. And the next time a cell divides, it will copy those letters, one by one, in a careful ritual of remembrance. You are not a machine. You are not an accident. You are a song made of letters that shimmer like stars. The code continues, just beneath your skin, humming as you sleep. But how does your body read these letters? How do the cells know which part of the code to follow, and which part to leave untouched? That quiet mystery waits for you in the next breath, the next pause, the next unfolding chapter. A story whispered by the cells themselves. You lie still. Your breath moves gently, like the tide. And deep within you, something else moves too. A quiet rhythm, older than words. One by one, your cells carry on with their delicate work. Not loud or hurried, just patient, just present. Each cell, like a tiny scribe, holds a scroll written in a language too small to see. The letters don't fade. They copy themselves, again and again, line by line. You are made of this story, and the story never forgets. You began as one cell, just one. Inside it, a tiny spiral waited. DNA, curled like a seashell, nearly invisible, but full of instructions. A manual written in chemical ink. That single cell didn't ask questions. It simply knew. And so it split. 2 cells, then 4, then 8. You imagine this now. The way cells multiply like soft ripples in still water. No noise. No urgency. Just gentle expansion, guided by the script inside. Every new cell was given a copy of the same instructions. Not handwritten, but hand-carried. A perfect replication, like monks quietly copying a sacred text by candlelight. Even now, billions of copies of you are being made every day. Not of your whole self, but of tiny fragments. Skin cells that flake and fall. Blood cells that live only days. Stomach cells worn thin and renewed. Yet each one carries the original instructions, the original story, the original you. It is a quiet miracle. Your cells don't shout. They whisper, and the whispers echo through your body in unison. There are many kinds of cells, each with a role. Some are builders, some are messengers, some are guards. But each begins with the same scroll of DNA, tucked inside a nucleus like a pearl within an oyster. The same instructions, the same story. So why don't all cells become the same? Because your body reads the story differently in each place. A muscle cell reads the part about strength. A skin cell reads about defense. A neuron reads about memory, silence, and fire. Each cell interprets the same book, but follows a different chapter. Just like readers around the world can hold the same novel, yet come away with different feelings. You rest now, knowing that your body is reading itself. Every moment, copying, remembering, continuing. DNA is delicate, and still, your cells copy it with stunning precision. Like artists tracing a masterpiece in the dark. Sometimes there are small mistakes, a skipped letter, a repeated phrase, but your body is wise. It checks, it edits, it corrects, and when it cannot, it adapts. Even errors become part of the story. You are not a single draft. You are a living edit, a revision in motion. Inside your marrow, blood cells are born like tiny suns. Red cells that carry breath, white cells that guard the gate, platelets that patch and heal. Each of them begins with a story, then forgets parts of it to fulfill its mission. You see, some cells remember less to do more. The red cell forgets its nucleus, erases the scroll to carry more oxygen. It gives up its memory to become a vessel of life. Not everything that is forgotten is lost. Some things are released for purpose, just like you. Some parts of your story are remembered clearly. Others fade, but nothing is truly gone. It is simply resting, waiting, folded into the spiral. You are not made of stone. You are made of memory, and memory is alive. Even now, as you breathe, cells are turning pages, reading again, writing anew. The code is not static. It dances. It learns. When you cut your finger, the skin cells nearby spring into action. They read the instructions for repair, for growth, for closure. And in days, your body is whole again. Not because of magic, but because your cells remember the original design. They remember you, even when you sleep, even when you forget. They rebuild from the blueprint, and you begin again. In your brain, neurons form new paths. They speak to each other with electricity and light. They, too, hold the story, but they do more. They revise it. Experience shapes the way they fire. Joy and sadness, fear and comfort. All of it leaves soft fingerprints on your neural code. This is how the story deepens. Your genes may write the opening line, but your life continues the sentence, the paragraph, the page. No two people carry the same edits. We are all copies of a shared book, worn in different places, smudged with different memories. Still familiar, still readable, still human. And though your DNA stays mostly the same from cradle to grave, the way your cells read it changes. Age is not decay, it is transformation. The instructions are followed with new emphasis, new rhythm. Just like a lullaby, sung slower at night. Your body knows what to do. You rest, trusting that every cell is a small storyteller, working late into the night. Not for applause, not for reward, just to continue your quiet story, one letter at a time. You are not alone. You never have been. Inside you, billions of tiny scribes carry on the work of life. You are a library of breath and being, a soft archive of the cosmos, printed in flesh. And tonight, as your mind slows, you feel the quiet certainty of that. Every breath you take is another word written. Every heartbeat, a chapter turned. The story goes on. But you wonder, softly now, what came before the first page? How was the script passed down to that very first cell, that spark of you? How much of this story was written by those who came before? You are a bridge, a gentle span, stretched not across rivers or roads, but across generations. You rest now, your body quiet, wrapped in blankets and stillness. Yet inside you, something ancient stirs, not loud, not dramatic, but present, like the hum of wind through leaves. This presence is your inheritance, a soft echo of those who came before. Half of your genetic story was whispered by your mother, the other half spoken by your father. Two voices braided into one quiet rhythm. And from their union, a new song began, yours. Close your eyes and float gently backward, not in memory, deeper, in the spiral thread of DNA that stretches through time. Each of your cells carries a tiny record, a script that was not written in ink, but in molecules. ATCG, repeating in patterns that were passed from parent to child, again and again, through centuries. In your mother's body, an egg waited, already holding her half of the story. In your father, a sperm drifted, carrying the other half. When they met, those two strands wove together, and something silent but extraordinary began. That moment, invisible to the naked eye, held everything. Hair color, eye shape, the way your toes curl when you sleep, the curl of your laugh, the possibility of sadness, the spark of joy, the blueprint of your being, drawn from two different maps. But the maps weren't identical. Your genes aren't carbon copies. Instead, they're paired, one from each parent, side by side like old friends holding hands. Sometimes they agree. Other times, one leads and the other listens. Your body decides whose version to follow, whose instructions to read more closely. And so, the traits you carry are a quiet compromise, a whispered conversation between two lineages. Think of freckles, or dimples, the way your voice sounds when you're tired. These may be gifts from someone you've never met, a great-grandparent with a gentle smile, or an ancestor whose name has faded from memory. Through DNA, people become trees, branches reaching toward you, even if you don't see their roots. There's comfort in this, isn't there? You are never alone in your body. You carry them, all of them, in your skin, your breath, your bones. Their struggles, their resilience, their laughter at dinner tables long gone. Pieces of their lives stitched softly into yours. But inheritance is more than biology. It's stories told in quiet rooms, gestures repeated without knowing why, the way you stir your tea, the lullabies you hum under your breath. These are the patterns passed down like favorite quilts, warm and familiar, even when you don't know who first sewed the seams. Some genes speak louder than others. For example, a child with one parent who has brown eyes and another with blue may inherit either, but brown often speaks more confidently. It's called dominance, but not the way you think. No yelling, just a tendency to be heard first. And then there are traits that only appear if both parents whisper the same line. Recessive traits, like a song that needs two singers before it can be heard. If only one hums it, it stays quiet, carried but unsung. This is how traits sleep inside us, waiting generations before waking again. And sometimes, a trait appears suddenly, unexpectedly, not from either parent directly, but from the way their genes combine. A new pattern emerges, like sunlight through overlapping leaves. Not random, but beautifully rare. These genetic dances are quiet, patient, and filled with wonder. They remind you, you are not just you. You are echoes, a blending, a new version of something very old. You might wonder, what else do you carry? Not just eye color or height, but vulnerabilities, strengths, potential. The code within you may hold clues to how your body handles sugar, or whether music gives you goosebumps. It may predict certain risks, not as fate, but as possibility. But tonight isn't for worry. Tonight is for awe. You carry thousands of years inside your chest, back to the first humans who stood under stars and wondered, back to creatures that swam before they walked, back to the beginning, when cells first learned to pass along instructions, to say, become. And now, you continue that message. Whether or not you have children, your existence already passes something forward. The way you treat others, the choices you make, the quiet presence you offer the world. In some traditions, ancestors are honored not because of what they gave, but because they remind us we belong to something larger. And isn't that comforting? You are not an island. You are part of a story that began long before you opened your eyes. Tonight, you are held in that story, wrapped in time, floating gently on the thread that connects you to every heartbeat before yours. And as your breath slows, you might feel a question rising, soft, like mist. If this is what you've inherited, what parts of you are still waiting to wake? What quiet genes sleep inside, waiting for the right moment, the right environment to whisper back into life? Inside you, there is quiet activity, not a rush, not a race, something slower, something like a candle flickering in a windless room, or the slow inhale of a sleeping child. This is the pace of your inner world tonight. Your body lies still, but inside each cell, something stirs gently, softly. You are made of instructions, genetic scripts that tell your cells what to do. But these scripts are not all shouted at once. They are whispered, and many are not spoken at all. Not yet. Some genes are silent, tucked away like letters never opened. Others hum with gentle music, low and constant, like a soft lullaby sung by stars. Every cell holds a full copy of you, but not every part of you is needed at every moment. A skin cell doesn't need to know how to make insulin. A stomach cell doesn't need to grow hair. So most genes stay quiet, asleep in their curled spirals, waiting. It is the most elegant silence, not absence, but readiness. Think of a library in the dark. Shelves stretch far and wide, each book a possibility. Only a few are pulled down and read. The rest stay closed, unlit but available. The genes you need in this moment are being read page by page. Others wait quietly on the shelves of your DNA. Some genes are like light switches, off until something turns them on. A burst of sunlight, a deep emotion, a memory, a scar. One moment, the switch is flipped and the cell begins to follow new instructions. These switches aren't dramatic. They are subtle, precise, and often invisible until much later, when your body has changed in some tiny way. Maybe a pigment in your eye, a hair that curls, a feeling of calm. And so you drift now through this subtle world of slumbering code and softly awakening signals. You float among the genes like a breeze through tall grass. You are not directing them, but they are part of you. Responsive, adaptive, present. There is no need to understand every detail. Just feel the wonder of it. Your body, in stillness, is orchestrating itself. Not chaotically, but like a symphony in slow motion. A cello here, a flute there. Some instruments rest. Some begin to play. And genes do not wake alone. They often need help. Proteins, tiny machines inside your cells. Tap them gently, like a finger on a shoulder. Are you needed now? Should you rise? If yes, the gene is read, like music from a score. Instructions flow out, copied carefully, sent off like paper boats into the river of your cell. One copy goes to help your skin repair itself after the brush of a blanket. Another tells your eyes to maintain their shape in the quiet dark. Another supports the slow hum of your heartbeat. This is what happens when genes wake. Not noise, but function. Quiet service. And not all genes wake for life. some wake in death. In the moments after a body dies, certain genes flicker to life. It is not a mistake. It is part of the story. Genes that never expressed before begin to speak. Some try to repair. Others begin to decompose with elegance. It is not frightening. It is simply a continuation, a postscript, a final expression. Your body, even in ending, is poetic. And now, think about sleep. Your body knows when to rest, and your genes do too. There are genes that rise and fall with the sun. Circadian genes, tuned to the rhythm of light and dark. Like flowers opening at dawn, they guide your biology to sleep and wake with the planet. Right now, those night genes are softly aglow. They cue your cells to slow down, to stop repairing what doesn't need mending, to save energy, to quiet inflammation, to store what is good. They hum in harmony with your breath. Some genes seem to protect your dreams. They reduce unnecessary noise from the brain. They allow memory to drift and settle. They lower the fire of anxiety. Like a loving guardian, they hold the edges of your mind, making room for rest. And some genes, though you carry them, may never wake in your lifetime. They sleep inside you like old seeds buried deep in the ground. Seeds for traits you do not show, music you do not play. But the possibility is there. And sometimes, in a future child or distant grandchild, one of those sleeping seeds may stir. A dimple appears, a tone of voice, a special curl of hair, something from long ago waking again. And so, your genes hold more than you. They hold a lineage, a record, a map of what was and what may still be. You are not just a moment. You are a relay, a resting point between past and future. Let yourself feel that. Feel the gentle power in being an in-between. You are alive, yes, but also waiting, also watching, also passing on. So tonight, as you lie still and quiet, remember that not all of you is awake. That's not a flaw. That's the design. Your body is not meant to be all things at all times. You are meant to flow, to rise, to recede, to echo, to dream. Inside you, some genes are closing their eyes now. Others are blinking into focus. They don't do this for excitement or achievement. They do it for balance, for harmony, for home. And just as some genes begin their quiet song, others pause, retreat, and dim. They are not gone, just waiting. And waiting, as it turns out, is not empty. It is full of readiness, full of promise. And perhaps that's what makes it beautiful. Because now, just as some genes dim, another chapter opens. One where their silent instructions become recipes. Instructions that feed you, shape you, and keep you whole. There is a hush tonight, gentle and full. You feel it settle over your skin like warm flour sifted through silence. Inside you, something is stirring, not with sound or motion, but with the quiet precision of a recipe followed faithfully in the dark. Your body, still and resting, is not empty. It is busy in its own quiet way. Within the soft walls of your cells, a dance continues. This dance is not wild or loud. It is subtle, careful, like a hand turning a page. DNA, your quiet librarian, pulls down a volume, not a book, but a code. It opens to a single page, then reads in a whisper you cannot hear, a language made not of words, but of instructions. Genes are those instructions. They do not shout commands. They murmur suggestions. Make this protein, they say. Begin here. In there, each gene is a recipe, and together they form the cookbook of you. Imagine a long, long scroll, rolled tight and stored in every one of your cells. If you stretched it out, it would span nearly 2 meters in length, and yet it fits inside the smallest parts of you. Tightly wound, perfectly folded, it waits. And when a cell needs something, a drop of pigment for your eye, a molecule of keratin for your nail, an enzyme to digest a single grain of rice, the scroll is unrolled, and a recipe is read. But reading is not enough. Like any good kitchen, your cells need tools. Ribosomes are those tools. You can picture them as tiny chefs, hunched over invisible cutting boards, assembling proteins one piece at a time, bead after bead, folding them into careful shapes. Their rhythm is slow and patient. It must be. Each mistake, each misplaced bead, could alter the whole dish. And so your body is cautious. It checks. It double checks. Like a baker measuring flour to the gram, your cells are meticulous. They follow each instruction with reverence, with care. The genes themselves are copied onto strands of messenger RNA, a kind of temporary recipe card, which floats gently from the nucleus to the ribosome. There, in the low light of your inner kitchen, the meal is made. The result? Proteins. You might think of protein as something you eat, something in eggs, in beans, in meat. But inside you, proteins are more than fuel. They are structure. They are function. They are the builders and the tools and the final creations. Some become the soft collagen in your skin. Others become the enzymes that break down sugar. Some fold into channels that let signals pass through your brain like whispered messages. Every cell has its own menu. A liver cell does not cook the same dishes as a skin cell. A neuron, long and winding like a river, makes different proteins than the round, robust muscle cell in your heart. This is called gene expression, the art of choosing the right recipe at the right time. Your body is a master chef, knowing exactly which dish to prepare and when. Sometimes, even silence is a choice. Many genes remain unread in certain cells, locked away like old recipes no longer needed. Others are activated only in moments of stress, or growth, or healing. This selectivity is what makes you whole. The same cookbook is shared across every cell, but each cell is a different kitchen with its own mood lighting, its own timing, its own need. And just as in any kitchen, ingredients matter. The air you breathe, the food you eat, the warmth of your blanket, even the quiet rhythm of your sleep can influence which genes are expressed. Your environment becomes part of the recipe, too. You lie still now and feel it happening, not with loud awareness, but with a gentle trust that your body knows what to do. You are being made, remade, kept whole by these tiny, tireless hands. Night is no interruption. It is permission. While your thoughts drift, your body continues. Transcribing, translating, folding, fitting. The code is not cold. It is warm with history, passed down through mothers and fathers, through ancestors who lived and breathed and dreamt just like you. Their recipes shaped your hairline, your laughter, your resilience. Some genes are ancient, unchanged in thousands of years. Others are unique to you, formed from tiny mutations, little edits in the text of life. But all belong. Think now of your body not as one thing, but as 1,000 kitchens, each humming softly, lit by a gentle flame. In each, a recipe is being followed with care, with purpose. You do not have to understand it all to trust it. You only have to rest and let it cook. And as you sink deeper into sleep, something else is stirring. Not a gene, not a protein, but a question. How does your body know which genes to choose? Who decides what wakes and what remains silent? Beyond the recipe, there must be a gardener, a guide. You float now in stillness, carried like a leaf on a breeze. Inside your body, the story of life continues, written not in ink, but in code. ATCG. For letters, always the same, always arranged with care. But sometimes, the code stumbles. A single letter slips. A T becomes an A C disappears, or an extra one slides in, unexpected. These are mutations, small changes in the long script of you. And yet, nothing rushes. No alarm sounds. You drift through this quiet space where change is born, where accidents can become art. In the great library of your cells, copying happens constantly. Billions of letters are rewritten every day by tiny molecular hands. Enzymes, soft and precise, glide along DNA, reading, repairing, restoring. But they are not perfect. Like tired scribes, they sometimes miss a stroke. And in that miss, something new begins. Most mutations do little. Like a single typo in a long letter, they go unnoticed. The sentence still makes sense. The meaning still holds. Other times, the change is harmful, breaking the balance that your body depends on. These are the mutations we fear, the ones we work to understand and sometimes mend. But not all mutations are bad. Some open doors. You are not just the product of perfect copying. You are the result of creative errors. Every color of skin, every shape of eye, every strand of diversity in life owes itself, in part, to mutation. Change, variation, surprise. You float beside this idea, warm and weightless. Mutation is not chaos. It is a kind of punctuation, an unexpected pause, a shift in rhythm, sometimes gentle, sometimes jarring. You remember the first fish that grew legs. A mistake in the script changed the shape of a fin. Slowly, over generations, that shift became function. Fins thickened, joints formed, and one day, movement came not with swimming, but with stepping, and the earth welcomed a traveler from the sea. Imagine the wings of birds, the colors of flowers, the patterns on a butterfly's wing. All of them, seeded by mutation, tiny errors that gave rise to beauty. Even your brain, so full of thought and feeling, is shaped by mutations past. Some gave you memory, others gave you laughter. A few gave you the quiet ability to listen to stories like this. Mutations are the reason no two people are quite the same. Even identical twins, who share almost everything, hold a handful of differences, a wrinkle of variation, a fingerprint on the genetic script. And so you breathe into that space now, the space between order and randomness, between what was and what might be. Your cells are not afraid of change. They move with it, like dancers adjusting to new music. When a mutation arrives, the body responds. Sometimes it silences the gene. Other times it adjusts, adapts, learns a new way. You are not fragile. You are flexible. Some mutations stay hidden, passed silently through generations. Others bloom later, in adulthood, their effects unfolding slowly like a new chapter. There are even mutations that protect, a change that makes one person resistant to a virus or able to live at high altitudes with ease. You drift deeper into this field of gentle variability. It feels like a forest, wild but patterned. No two leaves are the same, and yet all belong. In science, mutations are studied with care. We trace them through family lines. We use them to understand disease, to predict outcomes, to build treatments. But more than that, we learn from them what it means to grow, to evolve. Even in the stars, mutation exists. The heavy elements in your bones came from dying suns, where atomic rules shifted under extreme pressure, forming the unexpected. Stardust, altered and flung across the cosmos, eventually found a home in you. You are not an error. You are the art that errors made possible. Your DNA holds echoes of the past, moments where change led to survival, where difference became strength, the ability to digest milk, the resistance to malaria, the adaptation to cold or heat or hunger, all written by mutations. And though some bring hardship, even suffering, they remind us of life's complexity, of how delicate and yet how determined biology truly is. You breathe in again, slow and long. You feel your own variations now, not as flaws, but as fingerprints of history. You are not broken. You are in motion. Some scientists study gene editing, ways to correct harmful mutations. The work is careful, ethical, full of questions. Should we change the code? Should we let it be? It is a modern conversation, unfolding like a sunrise, slowly, with wonder and caution. You do not need all the answers tonight. You only need to know that inside you, art and error live together. That your body is a poem of billions of letters, some misspelled, some beautifully reimagined. You settle deeper now, wrapped in the comfort of this truth. Even when the script is imperfect, the story goes on. Even when the line bends, it still leads somewhere. And sometimes, the most unexpected twists are the ones that lead to wings. Now, in this soft moment of breath and becoming, you wonder quietly, if your cells can adapt to change, what else might respond to the world around you? What else might bloom, not from what you inherited, but from what you choose? You lie still now, your breath slow and easy. Around you, the night stretches like a blanket, heavy and warm. And deep inside, in the quiet library of your cells, something stirs. Not the genes themselves, no. They remain, coiled and constant. It is something subtler, a whisper in the silence, a hand in the soil, because not everything you are is written in code. Some parts of you grow above the script, like morning dew shaping how petals unfold. Your environment has the power to guide what blooms and what stays sleeping. This is epigenetics, a garden of possibility growing from the same seed. You imagine each gene as a light, waiting behind a veil. Not all are switched on. Some glow softly, barely seen. Some blaze with purpose. Others lie dormant for years, untouched. And who decides? 1,000 little gardeners, each dressed in silence. Chemicals, choices, stress, sleep, love, sunlight, sadness. They step carefully through the garden of your body, marking paths, turning keys. These gardeners do not rewrite the book. They only decide which chapters you read. And so, the story changes. Not by mutation, not by fate, but by invitation. By the way life moves through you. The way a winter of grief might press certain genes closed. The way a season of calm might allow others to open, blooming slowly like the blue of dawn. You drift deeper, watching now from the inside. In the womb, when you were still forming, epigenetic hands were already at work. Methyl tags and histone wrappings, sculpting your future, shaping your sensitivity to sound, to stress, to touch. Some marks were gifts from your mother's experience. How she ate, how she felt, how safe she was. Others came from your father, carried silently in the sperm that met her egg. And yet, the story wasn't fixed. You are not just a memory of your parents' lives. You are still being written each day. Even now, with every breath, your environment whispers into your biology. Epigenetics listens. The scent of pine, the rhythm of rain, a gentle voice. These moments matter. You feel it in your bones sometimes. How certain days weigh heavier. How others seem to lift you inexplicably. That is part of the dialogue. The push and pull of outer world and inner world, speaking in quiet chemical notes. Cortisol, the stress hormone, can change how your genes are expressed, not by editing the sequence, but by altering the way it is read. Like placing a bookmark over a paragraph so it is skipped, or highlighting a line so it shines brighter. Even loneliness, researchers have found, leaves traces on the genome, not in the letters, but in the folds, in the wrapping, in how tightly parts of your code are tucked away. But there is beauty here too, because what can be silenced can also be awakened. In nature, honeybee larvae are genetically identical, but feed one royal jelly, and it becomes a queen. Her genes, the same. Her outcome, transformed. Not by new information, but by new attention. A switch turned on. And you, too, are not fixed. With the right care, the right breath, the right music, your inner world responds. Epigenetic marks, though stable, are not forever. They are more like pencil than pen. They can shift. They can fade. They can be renewed. You are a living document, not a printed book. Some of your greatest healing may come not through surgery or pill, but through a softening of the space around you. Safety, stillness, laughter, the touch of a hand. These are not separate from your biology. They are its companions, walking beside it gently. You float now, half asleep, half aware. And you picture your genes as a vast meadow. Some flowers bloom every season. Some lie beneath the soil, waiting for a certain song, a certain temperature, a moment of light. You do not have to know which. You only need to tend the ground. Drink water. Rest. Forgive. Breathe. Because each act of care may unlock a part of you that has never spoken before. Epigenetics is not fate. It is flexibility. You are not a machine running code. You are a garden shaped by weather. And though you cannot change the past, you can become a better gardener now. You feel it as you settle deeper into your bed. A small shift, a loosening, the weight of the day melting away, gene by gene. Your breath is a message. Your sleep, a reset. As you dream, your body takes notes. You remember now. Even identical twins, born from the same egg, can live out different lives. Their genomes are mirrors, but their epigenomes diverge like rivers, shaped by stress, by love, by the way one twin laughed more often or listened to more music. It isn't what you are given. It is how you live with it. And so, with time, your life carves paths into your biology. Your choices leave fingerprints on your code. not to change the letters, but to decide which ones sing. Some researchers believe epigenetic marks can pass down for generations, echoes of famine, fear, or hope moving like soft shadows into the future. You carry more than just your own story, but you also shape what comes next. A gentle responsibility, a quiet power. The garden continues, and in that garden, your breath is a breeze. Your thoughts, rain. Your kindness, sunlight. Tonight, you lie still inside the soil of your own becoming. Not everything blooms at once. Not everything is supposed to. But something always stirs. Something always listens. Even silence has a voice in this. And as you drift further now, weightless, thoughtless, you feel your cells resting with you. The gardeners walk slowly through your bones, through your skin, brushing soft hands against the places you forgot to love. And somewhere in the quiet, a single gene begins to glow. But why some lights stay on longer than others, why they remember while others forget, is a question that leads us gently, slowly, into time's deeper code. You lie in the quiet of night, muscles soft, heart steady. As your breath slows, your body becomes a chrysalis for memory. Beneath your skin, your cells whisper stories that reach back to the first life on this planet. Creatures floating in oceans, wriggling in mud, climbing into trees. And here, in your genes, those distant echoes remain. Imagine a single strand of DNA, a ladder wound into a spiral so perfect it fits inside a cell smaller than a grain of rice. But within that spiral, there are patterns older than mountains, a sequence passed down through time, unchanged by millennia of change, a blueprint that carried life through ice ages, through shifting continents, through eons of quiet and chaos. You are part of that story. Trace your hand down your arm. Feel the living tissue beneath. Each cell contains that ancient code, that ancient echo. The same patterns that guided your distant ancestors still guide your heartbeat, your breath, your dreams. The carbon in your bones, forged in the cores of ancient stars, has made its way through rivers, through forests, through lives, and now it rests in you. You are stardust, yes, but also more. You are continuity. Your DNA is a time machine. It wins backward, not in perfect reverse, but in gentle fractals of history. You carry a lineage of small, scuttling creatures who first tested walking on land. You carry the memory of fish that shifted fins into limbs, rising onto rocky shores. You carry the echo of mammals that gazed at night skies, hunted in packs, and learned to care for one another. Picture, now, the vastness of that journey, oceans barren of life, then teeming with jellyfish and trilobites. Vast ferns rising in primeval forests, the explosion of color in dinosaur age, the wiping clean of it all by an asteroid's touch, and then life re-emerging slowly, courageously, into birds and mammals, and eventually, into you. All this time, the core of your being watches and waits, writes and rewrites, survives anew. And yet, even in that long lineage, there is change. Randomness dances in the microcosm of cells. A single letter in the genetic code might shift. One nucleotide might swap. Sometimes that shift weakens, but other times it births new strength. A wing where there was none. A woolly coat for cold. An immune system learning to fight. Evolution is slow, but persistent, a silent artist painting across eons. Your code, that quiet spiral, carries those little alterations, tiny epiphanies of change. You carry them effortlessly, unknowingly, as you drift towards sleep. Your freckles, your hair color, your fingernails, your resistance to sunlight or cold, all of it whispers of those shifts, those ancient choices made for survival and change. And in the breath between your breaths, you become aware. Evolution is not just in the past. It is very much alive, patient, and deliberate. It works whenever a seed cracks open, whenever bacteria learns to resist, whenever a child grows into an adult. The same force that carved whales from land dwellers and granted birds their song also shaped you into a thinking, dreaming being. You are both endpoint and continuation. In this stillness, you realize something soft but powerful. The echoes in your DNA connect you not just to the past, but to the future. Every quiet thought, every unconscious habit, every small decision ripples outward. Will you speak gently to those around you? Will you nurture the world that carries you? Will you pass on more than DNA, perhaps compassion, curiosity, kindness? Your code is not a final script. It is a living library, open to new stories. Tonight, as you drift deeper into this cool hush, feel the weight of ages in your fingertips. Feel the pulse of ancestors in your chest, and embrace the gentle paradox. You are transient, yet eternal through lineage. Your cells rest, replicate, whisper their histories. In each cell division, in each moment of quiet rest, you are both the last and the first. You are the pause between two great breaths of earth. The stars you once traced with a child's wonder now loom above your window. You know they are younger siblings of distant suns that died before your earliest ancestors walked the shores. The iron in your blood was forged in those ancient fires. Yes, you are old, but you are also part of something never quite done. There is a hush in that truth, a lullaby of belonging. As your eyelids lower, let them catch the last glimmer of that lineage. Let them sense the soft hum of evolutionary time in your bones. One moment, a cell dividing. The next, a thought brought to sleep. Your world is vast, and so are you. Both fragile and resilient. Both fleeting and ancient. Rest now, wrapped in the continuity that flows through every branch of your family tree, even those long buried in geological memory. Your journey continues tomorrow, but tonight it is enough to feel the echo. And as you drift toward the next chapter, you may wonder, how does the gardener of genes, that quiet epigenetic guide, decide which echoes to silence and which to nurture? And as you drift toward the next chapter, you may wonder, how does the gardener of genes, that quiet epigenetic guide, decide which echoes to silence and which to nurture? Breathe in. The room is still. The stars outside your window are too far to hear, but their silence sings something you can feel. A hush that seems to cradle your body and whisper, stay. Stay in this moment. Stay in this breath. Inside you, every cell holds a story, not just of where you come from, but of where we are going. The future is not somewhere out there. It's already humming beneath your skin. DNA, that quiet, coiled alphabet of life, is not finished speaking. It continues like a soft drumbeat, offering possibilities, offering questions, offering hope. Your body is not a fixed machine. It's a living conversation, Some messages are old, passed down for millions of years. Others are new, shaped by the air you breathe, the light you see, the emotions you carry. Science, once a distant stargazer, now turns its gaze inward. We decode, we discover, we dream. Your cells hold not just memories, but potentials, hidden codes that, once understood, may offer ways to heal what once seemed unhealable. In some quiet lab, someone now is studying how your DNA can guide medicine, not in a general sense, but a deeply personal one. Imagine a future where treatments are written just for you, tailored like a gentle glove around your unique genetic shape. No more guessing, no more one-size-fits-all, only listening, only precision. A medicine born from the story written deep in your cells. Tonight, you rest with that idea. You are a book that can be read gently and respectfully, a map that can be followed without force. And some genes, once seen as only static blueprints, are now keys. Keys to understanding how we age, how we forget, how we grow tired, and perhaps how we might turn the tide. Aging, once thought inevitable, is being softened by new eyes. We see that the end of the story may not be a single drop-off, but a gentle slope, maybe even a choice. You may one day slow the clock. You may gently redirect it. You may live not forever, but better. But for now, you just breathe. The future doesn't ask for urgency. It waits patiently inside. Even now, scientists are exploring how your genetic code might help unlock resilience, how to fight diseases, how to prevent them before they begin, how to teach your cells to recognize danger before it arrives. You are not helpless in the face of biology. You are a quiet architect, building a future with your breath, your care, your understanding. And your code doesn't only define you. It might also preserve memory. Genes are beginning to whisper clues about Alzheimer's, about loss, about holding on to names and moments and meaning. Imagine holding your grandmother's laughter not only in memory, but in code. Remembering not just with your mind, but with your cells. This is not magic. It is science, slow, humble, human science, meeting mystery at the edge of understanding. And through this exploration, we may come to see that we are not victims of our DNA. We are partners. You are not a passive passenger. You are a co-author. Already, epigenetics teaches us this, that how you live, love, eat, move, rest, and hope all shape the way your genes express themselves. They open, they close, they shimmer or quiet down, not from force, but from feeling. The future inside you listens. And maybe, in that listening, we find not just cures, but compassion. Not just longer life, but deeper presence. The science of tomorrow begins with the softness of tonight. You do not need to know every detail. You only need to feel the truth, that you matter, that the spiral in your cells carries not just survival, but wisdom. You are stardust and story. You are a poem written in molecules. And somewhere, in a gentle lab or in the quiet breath of a scientist looking through a microscope, a discovery is forming. It may change your life, or your child's life, or someone you've never met. But tonight, it's just a whisper, a potential, like a seed waiting in the dark, like your breath, patient, soft, and always returning. You feel it now, the sense that you are not just living in a body, you are living in a future becoming. And it's not a place to rush toward. It's a space to rest in. The blueprint is unfolding with every heartbeat. And all it asks is that you remain open. You float now in this understanding, lighter somehow, as if your very cells have heard something kind. And maybe they have, because just beyond this chapter lies another spiral, not in your body, but in your memory. A memory passed down through generations. A memory not written in words, but in time. And now, as your breath slows, and the soft threads of thought dissolve into night, you rest inside a miracle, your body, a quiet archive of cosmic time, your cells, gentle keepers of memory and meaning. There is no need to unlock every secret tonight. No need to chase what's ahead, for the future already lives in you. Patiently, silently, lovingly, let that truth cradle you now, as you drift into sleep, held by the quiet spiral, the lullaby of your own becoming. Good night, traveler of stars and strands. You are made of futures yet to bloom, and for now, you rest,